pieces find new meaning. Cracks are where the light comes in. I've been wounded, I've been through it. Now I've got something to give. Brother, sister, rise up. Lift your weary eyes up. In the name of love we offer up our broken heart. In the name of God we fight for those who hurt like us. In the Jesus way we heal the words with a sacred start. In the name of love, in the name of love. Oh, sister, rise up, lift your weary eyes up. In the name of love we offer up our broken hearts. In the name of God we fight for those who hurt like us. In the Jesus way we heal the world through sacred scars. In the name of love, in the name of love. Whoa. Sacred scars now serve in the name of love, in the name of love. Broken pieces find new meaning. Cracks are where the light comes in. In the name of love we offer up our broken hearts. In the name of God we fight for those who hurt like us. In the Jesus way we heal the world through sacred scars. In the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love we offer up our broken hearts. In the name of God we fight for those who hurt like us. In the Jesus way we heal the world through sacred scars. In the name of love, in the name of love. Oh.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Quest. Welcome here. Glad you guys are here. Welcome to everybody that's online. My name is David Reyes. I'm substituting for Matt Nightingale, who's taking a some well-deserved time off and is out enjoying his time. I've been at the Quest for about 18 years, so I've been doing all kinds of positions here. Usually I'm in the back room and nobody sees me. So this is a little strange for me being up front. I'm a bass player, and bass players are usually in the back. So this is a little weird. So I'm going to ask for a little bit of grace, actually a lot of grace. I may say something awkward or may do something wrong, but I'm going to ask for your grace, especially you guys online. Welcome to you guys that are online. Let's go ahead and continue our worship. We're also going to have a guest speaker, Melanie. Tony is out enjoying time with his family out in Tahoe, and Melanie is here speaking on Tony's film, Last Chance Charlene. So welcome, everybody. Let's go ahead and continue with our worship.
Standing in your glory.
hope that is real, and I feel your touch. You bring a freedom to all that's within. In the safety of this place, longing to pour out my heart, say that I love you, pour out my heart, say that I need you, pour out my heart, say that I'm thankful, pour out my heart, say that you're wonderful. Oh, that you're wonderful. Here I am once again. I pour out my heart, for I know that you hear every cry I'm singing. No matter what state my heart is in, you are faithful to answer words that are true, and a hope that is real as I feel your touch. You bring a freedom to all that's within. The safety of this place, pour out my heart, say that I love you, pour out my heart, say that I need you, pour out my heart, say that I'm thankful, pour out my heart, say that you're wonderful. Pour out my heart, say that I love you, pour out my heart, to say that I need you, pour out my heart, to say that I'm thankful, pour out my heart, to say that you're wonderful. Lord, that you're wonderful. Lord, that you're wonderful.
All right, if you're able, why don't you stand and sing with us? This is Hosanna.
Praises rising, eyes are turning for you. We turn for you. Oh, to face the day. And in your presence, all our fears are washed away, washed away. Hosanna, Hosanna.
Welcome to everyone online, and I just want to say, I know a few of you come from north, like Petaluma, Santa Rosa. I know some of you come from the south, San Rafael, but I just have to acknowledge David's cousin, Margie, and her girls. They came all the way from New Zealand, so can you guys beat that? My name's Christine Reyes, and I'm on staff, and just welcome everyone here in the building, and welcome to all our friends online. So the Contemplative Spirituality Group meets every other Monday evening at 6:30. There's a meeting tomorrow night. The beauty of it being on Zoom is Co-Pastor Matt Nightingale will be there. He's joining you from out of town, so it's tomorrow night. It's on Zoom, and you do have to register if you haven't yet. If you're online, there's a link in the comment section that you can click on. You can also go to our website, wearethequest.org. Go to the events page, and there's a link that you can click on there too. Okay, so Food and Faith is meeting this Wednesday. It's at 6:30, and the Questers gather 6:30 at Tommy Salsa for dinner, fellowship, and spiritual conversation. And I heard last time there was like 12 of you guys. Very nice. So might have to close out the whole place. Okay, so please plan on joining us next week as we welcome back Teresa Donahoe. She was here last April, and she's coming back to do her one-woman show. It's called Born Again in Berkeley, and that's going to be during our 10 a.m. worship time. So make sure to come and invite your friends and family, and then afterwards make sure you stay for our burrito brunch. Yay, from Tommy Salsa, yay. Okay. If you love the music that we sing and play on Sunday and you want more of it during the week, we have a Questy worship music playlist. It's over 6 hours of music, and you can find it on Spotify or Apple Music. And we also have a Quest family chat that's on Messenger. You don't have to be on Facebook. You don't have to be active on Facebook to use Messenger. And the family chat is just another way for us to connect with each other. You can share anything you want, pictures, a little story, a prayer request, anything, a word of encouragement, or just like, you might even say like, I'm having a bad day. And you know, whatever, you can say whatever you want in the family chat. And you can do that, on Instant Messenger. And last but not least, let's talk about our giving. Today is the last day of July, and our monthly goal is $10,000. We are at $8,342, and this is the first month in the third quarter, so we have August and September to try to reach our quarterly goal of $30,000. And we just do this to let you know where we are. We don't pass a basket around. We just want to let you know where we are. And there's different ways you can give. There's boxes there at the entrance that you can drop something off in, or you can go online and you can give that way too. One more song.
Thank you. Well, welcome to the Reyes Family Show. So I just wanted to acknowledge the band. We got Don Forbes on guitar there, Crystal Jeffers on drums, and Toby's singing. Well, she'll be on ukulele today. I'm on bass. My name is David, so it's Reyes. So you guys ever have one of those days where you just wish you had a break, where everything would go wrong? I think we've all had that day. We've had a day like that. We've had weeks like that. We've actually had years that are like that. First we had COVID, and as soon as we thought COVID was going away, the war in Ukraine happens. So you just wish, can we just please get a break? So this next song, I think, is that we have all these issues, but it depends on how we look at them. And are they really issues that we're having, or are they blessings for us? So take a listen to this next song. Welcome Melanie Jane to come do our message.
Good morning, everyone. Get situated here. All right. You can go ahead and, oh, it's already up. Never mind. So when I was growing up, I had this exact t-shirt that said, "God is writing your love story." It reminded me to relinquish control and to trust God, and that God would handle my story, and that I simply needed to turn my eyes towards God and to trust the process, and that everything would be fine. As a person who hyperfixates on many things and was determined to live a very Christ-centered life, I took this to insane extremes, to the point where I would not allow myself any control over any aspect of my story, and I warmly accepted any and every trial and tribulation that came my way. I grew up believing that to live the best and most Christian life, I had to give up my agency and desires. And as a woman, a queer woman, this was especially true. So I never learned or bothered to learn how to advocate for myself or stand up for myself. If I was in a bind or getting emotionally or physically hurt, I was either being tested by God or tempted by the devil. So in either case, I just gave more of my autonomy to God and trusted that something good would come of it. Long story short, I set myself up for a lot of pain and self-hatred. I took every single word preached behind the pulpit and told to me at youth group and from every televangelist and became the ideal depiction of what it meant to be Christian, while slowly developing this fictitious sense of self-love. And I clung onto the words no matter how confusing or invalidating they were. So today and every day, let all of my words be for few or none, and a few of my words be for all. Lynn, you can go ahead and play the trailer, or whoever's in charge of that. You can play the trailer for Last Chance Charlene. Sorry.
Why does it have to be so dark?
It's based on a true story.
Nobody wants to see movies about dead people. And toss in a few minorities. You need some gays, people of color, disabled people. That's hot right now.
They passed on you, and I quote, your saggy side friends, aka your love handles. But damn, why can't Hollywood normalize all body types?
Erica, what the Charlene? I haven't seen you at church lately. You okay? It must have been so awful. I don't know what I'd do if a loved one committed suicide.
I saw the pastor's wife, Joan.
Screw that witch. Sorry, Jesus.
Cleo, oh my God. Hi.
It's Cleopatra now. It's on my headshot, like all my socials, so.
Everyone who's anyone in this industry is an influencer.
Hey, blue check mark, baby.
I'm just saying, thank God I'm not still waiting on tables.
Oh my God, are you okay?
I peed a little, but I'm fine.
I haven't been in a good place.
Who is Charlene? It's been hell.
I don't believe in hell like I used to. Like, it's not a place we go when we die. It's life on earth.
She's a fun one, isn't she, buddy?
You know how many people ask me how Dominic died? That's partly why I'm writing the film.
I see you, floundering like a dead dolphin in the waves.
I'm out here hanging 10 at the surf.
You certainly have a way with words.
I know.
I'm not okay.
Maybe we can be not okay together.
Hey, what's your mantra?
The story lies within me.
Hey, are you a screenwriter? Wow.
Touch my belly when I say you can, but never my hair.
Everything is always a movie scene to you. You need help.
Do you ever do anything just for you? Like goat yoga?
You do that, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Should I be worried, Charlene? What is wrong with you?
It was. So first, I just want to say, how many of you have seen the movie? All right, good portion of you. Great. So Last Chance Charlene shows us the value and importance of community without stripping away a person's agency. Charlene would not have been able to start her healing journey after Dominic's death without the push and love from Ayla, Dominic's widow. Her mother and her shared in sadness in their loss and lifted each other up, and they gave each other support and encouragement to make it through the week. And Charlene also found healing through Dominic. Sure, Dominic would annoyingly appear at the most inopportune times, making her look a little crazy. But I do hear Tony just has that effect on people. And if that joke went over your head, Tony plays Dominic in the film. But these encounters and visions with Dominic helped heal her. Just posing questions and pondering over them pushed her forward in her healing journey. These people didn't assert themselves over Charlene. They didn't say she had to do this or had to do that. And they didn't shame her when they gave her advice or tough love, except for maybe the peppy pastor's wife, Joan. But in the end, she still ended up providing some pretty helpful resources for both Charlene and her mother. Grief, it's a difficult thing to maneuver. And it's a pain that sticks around and causes suffering. It has a time and a place, but it often persists longer than we'd like. And when I think of suffering in the Bible, my mind immediately goes to Job. So you can go ahead and pull up that text. We're reading from Job 2, all of chapter 2 today. One day, the heavenly beings came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them to present himself before the Lord. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered the Lord, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." The Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. He still persists in his integrity, although you incited me against him, to destroy him for no reason." Then Satan answered the Lord, "Skin for skin. All that people have, they will save their lives. They will give to save their lives. But stretch out your hand and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse you to your face." Then Satan answered, I already read that, sorry. Then the Lord said to Satan, "Very well, he is in your power. Only spare his life." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and inflicted loathsome sores on Job from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. Job took a potsherd, which is a broken piece of ceramic, to scrape himself with and sat among the ashes. Then his wife said to him, "Do you still persist in your integrity? Curse God and die." But he said to her, "You speak as any foolish person would speak. Shall we receive the good at the hand of God and not receive the bad?" In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. Now, when Job's 3 friends heard of all these troubles that had come upon him, each of them set out from his home. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. They met together to go and console and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they did not recognize him. And they raised their voices and wept aloud. They tore their robes and threw dust in the air upon their heads. They sat with him on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw his suffering was very great. I'll be honest, I have a few issues with this text. Part of this is because Job is one of the reasons I believed it was good to suffer. But Job is a unique case. He's not the precedent, and he's not the example we should necessarily live up to. But his friends and wives perhaps are the examples to follow. Job's wife expresses her frustration with the trials and tests God's putting on Job. And Job does make a good point in his response. Why do we accept the good but not the bad from God? I don't think it's necessarily about not accepting the bad or not finding the silver linings in difficult times. After all, it is in life's challenges and difficulties where we grow the most as a person. But that does not mean we have to sit in it and let it fester. We can find the good and the beauty after this persistent pain has subsided, and you'll probably be more willing to find it too. We can accept the bad at the hand of God without suffering from it, without continual pain. Job's wife is not cursing God necessarily or committing a sin. She is making sure her husband knows he has a choice, that she is supporting and loving her husband and letting him know he does not have to suffer like this. And Job's friends provide support in another way. They sat with him and let him know that they were there for him. They mourned and they helped him make the pain a little less by providing company and even distractions. Even though they didn't say a word, they let him know he didn't have to suffer alone. Now, once Charlene chose to lean into her support system, she was supported in different ways from each person, just like Job was. And she was no longer suffering alone. Ayla gave that tough love she needed to realize this. So Charlene began to hang out with people and reach out to her husband and family for the support she and her family needed. Dino understood the relationship. Dino was the person in the car at the end of the trailer when she fell out, if you haven't seen the film. And Dino offered what he could at that time. He gave Charlene safe transportation and made sure she was in good hands before leaving after she had gotten too intoxicated. So we have a choice in whether we sit in our sorrow or find the support and help to get out. We have a choice in what and how we believe. We have a choice in where we see God and how we see God. God is everywhere. And I think this is just as much about This is just as much about always understanding. It's just as much about understanding that God is always with us as it is about how God acknowledges that we comprehend, relate to, and connect to the divine differently from each other. God gave us choice. He gave us free will, a choice on how and where we see them. And God gave us a say in our own lives. God gave us the chance to choose our story every day and know that our story does lie within us. And we can choose God's story and we can let God know that we want another path too. Just because we don't like the way our story is going or feel invalidated or whatever those feelings are, doesn't mean we have to live with it. We can tell God that we're unhappy, that we're frustrated and stressed, that we're having a hard time with our faith and relationship with God. And we can ask for a different storyline. And I even think we can just change it ourselves, because God will work with it. God is a divine being, and God can handle it, and we'll find another way. He will support us when He disagrees and when we go against His intentions and plans. God supports us. And I don't think God doesn't give us anything we cannot handle. We can handle what God gives us. But the problem is, God isn't the one who's always giving us stuff. Sometimes it's a negative spiritual being or energy or what have you. Most of the time, it's just other humans. And just because we can handle something doesn't mean we have to. And it is okay to not be able to handle something. It's okay to need help. Trusting God does not mean accepting and welcoming in everything that happens us. Trusting God is choosing to believe that whatever we choose for our story, God will support us and do what God does to hold us closely and be there when we need it with what we need. God wants us to have our own agency and does not want us to force belief or force suffering or force healing even. God supports us and she believes in us. Giving our life to Christ and God is not about giving up control. That is, if you don't want it to be. It's about entering into a support system that wants the best for us, that respects our boundaries and pushes us when we need it, and also leaves us alone when we're being stubborn and are just unwilling to receive that advice or help. So God gives us what we need no matter what we choose. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So I have this tattoo, mise en place. It is a cooking term that means everything in its place. It's the idea that before you begin cooking or baking, you measure and organize out all your ingredients, so when you start that recipe, you can just pour everything in nice and easily and have it ready for you.
Measure twice, cut once.
Yes. This is how I see God in control of my life. God lays out the ingredients, but it's up to me to make the recipe. And sometimes I forget the salt or the sugar, and I am almost always adding extra almond extract. Did I need the salt? Yeah, I definitely needed that salt. Did I need the sugar? Actually, for this recipe, it was optional, but it probably would have made it better. Did I need the extra almond extract? No, but I did find it tastier. I messed the recipe up, and sometimes it turns out bad, but sometimes it turns out better. Because some days what I need is different than the other time I made that recipe. And sometimes I change it not because I don't trust God, but because the recipe isn't only for me that time. And we all need different things, even in our faith. The recipe may call for flour, but I'm not making this cake for me, it's for my gluten-free friend. I'll relieve you of this analogy and take you to a real-life example. So when I'm having a bad depression or ADHD day, the last thing I need is for someone to tell me that I'm loved and that everything will be fine. This is telling me that you're not seeing the pain I'm currently experiencing and assumes that people loving me will just solve everything. And so it says to me that you weren't listening to why I was feeling that particular way. I need people to mourn and get angry like Job's friends, to sit with me and give me company, even if no words are ever shared. I need people who understand that right now, everything is not fine. Yes, it will be fine, but it's not at the moment. And I don't want to invalidate my present feelings because they'll go away eventually. It's not the healthiest. However, I do know that a lot of people do need to be reminded of these things, and that what's happening now is not forever, and that everything will be fine. Some people forget that they are loved by others and by God, and so having that reminder is a great encouragement to get through those difficult moments. And love has a lot of power, and also we all experience and receive love differently. So some people need almond flour, and some people need all-purpose flour. God gives us what we need, and it's up to us as a community to make a recipe with all of our ingredients, to make a life with everything that we have to offer that is affirming and supportive for each of us individually and as a community. And this means changing things up from situation to situation. And it also means stepping into the pain sometimes so the same person doesn't have to do it again and again. And as a person with privilege, I think this is especially true for us. As Dino and Ayla's relationship progressed, we also saw Charlene and Dino's relationship progress, so the support Dino offered could change. So Dino was able to hold her pain as the relationship progressed, and that meant that Charlene's pain for that moment, it was a weight off of her shoulders. It was a chance to breathe. And that's what we do when we take someone's pain and willingly step into it. We give them a break, a moment of rest and relief. Later, in the book of Job, we see the same three friends supporting Job by supporting his belief. Job begins to rightfully question God and kind of hate the way his life is going. His friends give some advice and call him out and repeat the words he was using earlier in himself to explain why he was enduring the suffering. At the moment, Job did not need people to share in his sorrow. He needed tough love because the relationship had changed, so the way they supported him also changed. In the end, Job chose to suffer for God, but he didn't necessarily have to. God would have found another way to accomplish what he was doing, and Job would have grown from different circumstances. And the same applies to us. I wish I knew I didn't have to relinquish every ounce of my control to be a Christian, but unfortunately, my church never taught me this. So I forced myself to endure some really uncomfortable and risky situations that I believed it was for the best. But letting someone persist in their pain is not loving them. God does not want us to suffer, even though he does allow it sometimes and did allow it for Job's life. But Job is not the rule. Job is the exception to the rule. Job's story is not so much about a person with great faith, but about how a person managed to survive and be with God the way he wanted by leaning into the people around him to support him. And it's also about how God has a story too, and that God chooses the direction of God's own story and existence, but cannot always control the outcome of his choices or actions, because God gave us free will. So that means that it's up to us to choose what to do with those decisions and actions. Last Chance Charlene is about a woman suffering who managed to survive and thrive with the support of the people around her. It reminds me that I have people in my life who care for me and who are ready to support me and help me however they can, and allow me to choose when and how this is. So the agency we have also means we will have to ask for help. And that is one of the messages of Job and Last Chance Charlene. We have the power to heal ourselves. We just have to be open to asking and receiving help from others, and also finding God's help in the weirdest of ways, like perhaps getting high from a non-psychoactive brownie, or from constantly having to go to the bathroom so you have the opportunity to honestly get out of an awkward or unsafe situation, or just Cleo. You can go ahead and go to that last slide. You have a choice in what you believe and how you believe. So choose your story. Don't let people dictate or control it, but do let them have an influence. Because we can advocate for ourselves, and we can do it ourselves, but we don't have to, and we really should not. Because remember, we're all connected, and we're all part of life cycles. We all have the divine within each and every one of us. So when you talk to or get support from other people, you get a little bit of that divine, a little bit of God, a part of God perhaps you're not familiar with. So being in community and leaning into your support system is healing and empowering, and you get that part of God you otherwise would not, a part of God that loves you and wants the best for you. And more times than not, what is best for us is each other, just like it was for Charlene. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. As you all know, the Quest does things a little differently around here. So we're going to go ahead into communion. So if you have your handy-dandy communion cup with you, or if not, they're passing us around. We'd also like to thank Elena and Eric for the great food they have there. You can also go back and grab some food back there. So we do this so that we remember Christ and remember that God loves us. So let's go ahead and join in communion. And no matter who you are, where you are, or what you're doing, and you guys that are online as well, just take whatever food or drink that you have, and we'll join in communion. So our little cups, they've got a little wafer in the back. You can grab that and then take that and do this in remembrance of Jesus. There's a wafer, and on the other side is your juice. Grab that. If you guys heard in the or watched the movie, we've got a special treat for you today as well. Toby has an original song in Tony's movie. So you guys are going to hear that. This is called The Exception.
Could someone love the way I laugh? Or how my hair falls past my shoulders? Or how I think about too much and then I let it eat me up? Could you love that? 'Cause I'm just longing to feel something. 'Cause I've done this before and it didn't work out well, but I'm hoping you could help. And I've been here before and each time it fell through, but I'm thinking that you'd be the exception. The exception. If I practice my smile in the mirror, or if I laid out all of my greatest fears, would you think I care too much, or maybe just enough? Could you love that? 'Cause I'm so close to feeling something. 'Cause I've done this before and it didn't work out well, but I'm hoping you could help. And I've been here before and each time it fell through, but I'm thinking that you'd be the exception. Oh, 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 oh. I didn't mean to seem uninterested. Just been so long since it's been intimate for me. I don't remember what it's like to be seen in the light, but I'm hoping you might. 'Cause I'm finally feeling something. 'Cause I've done this before and it didn't work out well, but I'm hoping you could help. And I've been here before and each time it fell through, but I'm thinking that you'd be the exception. The exception. The exception. We'd be the exception. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you also to the crew in the back. We've got Kit, Lynn, and Tony Housen doing production. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Have a great week.